All right, guys, welcome back. Again, The Barren Grounds by David A. Robertson. We are on Chapter 8. This is the third video for Chapter 8. Okay, so we have Katie and Morgan having a discussion about how Katie is trying to support Morgan. Not save her, support her. Okay, so we're just at the very bottom of page 74. Then you'd somehow be helping that girl? Maybe, she nodded. Or I could just be helping you. Morgan looked Katie over in the quiet that followed. She couldn't have been older than 30. Her light brown hair was tied back in a loose ponytail that had been tighter at dinner. She was wearing gray yoga pants and a thin black cardigan that she was hugging around her body. Her glasses were sliding towards the tip of her nose. Those moccasins, Katie said. The bannock, she chuckled softly. A gentle, soft self-admonishment. Okay, so it's kind of like, she's kind of saying, oh boy, like I kind of screwed up a little bit, right? Morgan imagined, I thought I should try to connect you with your culture. That maybe it would make things better for you. Morgan sat up, leaned forward on her elbows. Those moccasins would have been perfect for Eli, you know. He's got himself figured out. He's indigenous, probably goes to ceremonies and all that. I don't think I even want to be indigenous. I grew up white, in all these white homes. I'm not indigenous anymore. Katie spoke carefully and quietly. Does doing all that make him more indigenous than you? Morgan shrugged. She didn't know. She didn't know what to say. Tell me what I can do, Katie said. That's part of how I can learn. If you could just treat me like I'm any other human girl. That's it. I don't need, you know, to wear those, she pointed at the gift Katie and James had got her, or hang dream catchers from my window, or smudge every morning, or whatever else. Just treat me like a girl. Katie shuffled up the bed, closer to Morgan. Closer, but not too close. She put her hand on Morgan's foot. I like you, Morgan. James and I both do. We don't want to lose you. This language right here is extremely powerful. Morgan has always been sent away from homes. Sent away, ran away, whatever. But Katie is saying Morgan is something that they like having in their home, in their family, and they don't want to lose her. When you say something like, I don't want to lose you, that means that's something of value. And sometimes we overlook the power of words and how much words can mean or affect somebody. But for Morgan to be told that her foster family, Katie and James, don't want to lose her, I think this is something that perhaps Morgan has never been told before in a foster family. She was probably told that she should be thankful that people are looking after her, that people are feeding her and putting, you know, a roof over her head. Katie's not saying that. Katie is saying, we want you and we don't want to lose you. Even if I act crazy? Morgan asked. trying to keep the tears deep down in her stomach. She'd cried enough today. Katie smiled reassuringly. Nothing you can do can make us want you gone, Morgan. And speaking of humans, of being a girl, girls, teens can do that sometimes. I was a girl once, believe it or not. I did way worse than slam my palm on a table or make an adult's breakfast into a mad face. It was just the whole day. Morgan thought of every little thing she'd done that she wished she hadn't. Katie didn't say anything. She sat there for a moment, tapped Morgan on the foot a couple of times, then got up from the bed. I won't run away, Morgan blurted out before Katie had left the bedroom and closed the door. Then I'll see you in the morning. Katie turned back one last time. And no faces on your breakfast plate. Moccasins and bannock. Actually, I kind of like bannock, Morgan said, with lots of butter. And jam sometimes. Katie chuckled and shut the door. Morgan turned onto her side, stared out the window, and stayed like that until the house was dark and quiet. No movement, no snoring. She wanted to go see Eli and apologize to him. Tell him, okay, if the portal works again, if it wasn't some crazy mind meld hallucination they had simultaneously, they could check it out. Ooh. Go through it. Just a few steps. And only if the Fisher wasn't there. If it was running at them again, no deal. But it had been a long day. And in thinking about all this, she fell asleep. All right, that's the end of chapter 8. And Morgan is right. It has been a long day. Oh my goodness. Think about everything that has happened since the very first chapter. Chapter 1 is the beginning this morning when first Morgan's trying to sneak out of the house and then she gets caught, kind of. And then she has breakfast and gets into that issue with James because James made a funny face with her breakfast. Goes to school, gets to start to know Eli a bit better, opens up a bit to him, and he opens up a bit to her. And he is honest with Morgan, saying things like, hey, how come you are always looking so angry? Things like that. Then she meets Emily, okay? And her and Emily seem to be maybe at the beginning of starting a friendship. Emily gets a new drawing pad for Eli. They come on back home. They get home and there's a little celebration. And so, again, an issue happens at the celebration. Morgan storms off. She's all by herself. Eli comes up there, brings his picture. All of a sudden, the picture opens a portal to some other world where some Fisher is walking up on its hind legs like a human towards them, running towards them. They rip that down. They kind of have a bit of a altercation, and again Morgan says something again that comes out mean. She's jealous of Eli remembering his home, his culture and identity. There has been a lot going on in this whole day. It has been a long day, but every step of that day, every issue or negative occurrence led to Morgan doing some self-reflecting. And not only Morgan did some self-reflecting. It seems like Eli's done a bit of self-reflecting. Katie's done some self-reflecting. Everybody's just trying to do what's best, and they're trying to figure that out. And it's a process. So that is the end of chapter 8. Oh my goodness, I am loving this book. All right, guys, take care. We'll start chapter 9 next time. Bye, guys.